Ching Conversations, and this is for August 2025. And I'm Alice, and I'm with.
Deborah Monroy here in Avondale Estates, Georgia.
I'm looking forward to chatting about August
Right.
because we're just into it, and already all the currents of energy have been around me. They started, I think, the end of July. What's interesting for August is we have two different energy currents. The first one is called Journey, and the second one is called Expressions. So we're going to talk today about how that collective energy that's all around us is showing up and what we've been experiencing.
We'll start with travel, which is the beginning. It says when you travel, you know you have shortcomings. You do not understand the full nature of the society or the place you're going into. So there's this quality of the unknown with respect to travel. I'm going to take the alternative view of travel in a sense, in that for me, the most profound travel that I've experienced and continue to experience is travel within, being right where I am. And by just being there really and paying attention, I'm traveling to someplace extraordinary. Stepping out of my car and seeing a nearby stream, stepping out of my car and looking overhead and seeing a crane fly overhead. And it seems like a good sign. I remembered as I was reading the first part of the I Ching for August with respect to the notion of travel. Years ago, when we were living in Italy with my family, it was the late 60s, and B side of the Beatles hit Lady Madonna had a song by George Harrison, and the song is called The Inner Light, reflecting Harrison's commitment to Buddhism and looking within some of the Eastern traditions. And the words that I'll never forget from that song, because obviously we had traveled very far. By that time, we'd left California. We left North America. We were living thousands of miles away from our family. And the line in the song that is so memorable to me is the farther you travel, the less your love, the less you realize it. And that really struck me. And shortly after that, the following year, we returned to the States. And I was heartbroken because I'm, by design, a citizen of Western Europe. I love all the languages in that culture. But within a few weeks, I was back in San Francisco with my grandmother. And my grandmother and my uncle were my first family. And within 15 minutes of meeting up again with my grandmother, I felt at home. And since that time, I was about 15 at that time, for me, the most important travel has been that eternal return to the city where our family is from. Or in more local terms, the eternal return to the area where I live in now. I leave my small town to visit another small town where more of my family live, and it's within an hour's drive. So for me, that issue of travel, the novelty of travel, the happiness of travel, the insight that's revealed by travel is something that happens internally. It's my response to what's out there. I don't have to get on a plane to get there. I'm grateful for that economy, the economy of emotion and the economy of motion both.
Wow, said really resonates for me two ways. One is done a lot of traveling to places I wanted to go as a tourist. My take homes have always been the internal effect, the broadening of my understandings and learning to get along in a different culture, even though I was there for a short time, just all of that impact. But it's was internal. I found that I didn't really take a lot of photographs because how do you describe seeing one of the whales jump out of the fjord right next to the little boat that you're on and you're all decked out in all of this gear and it's freezing cold and a picture can't even capture impact of that power and that force and the animal and the unknown, just not knowing it was even underneath the ship and up it comes and the potential kind of knocked us over. The internal part, my little foreign forays over the years have really been profound and changed me. But I found lately, and this is the part Eve was talking about in this chapter, that you don't have to travel internationally or to another state or whatever. You can just go in your own neighborhood or to places nearby and experience them as a journey, looking for what do you notice that you haven't noticed before? What have you discovered and how does it impact you? I've just had that experience going up to Ellijay, which is in North Georgia, which is alien to me. It's like going to another culture, different housing, different structure, different places to shop, different ways of doing business, of talking. And there's a mix of people from all over the country, plus a lot of people who are born and raised many generations in North Georgia mountains. And that's a whole different dialect of English that's spoken and way of being and interacting with salespeople and interacting with people when you meet them. It's been remarkable to read that first section of the August I Ching prediction because it was like, wow, all of this is going on around me, the collective energy around me that is influencing me.
See if this fits in with your observations. And with the call of the first part of August is to travel. In that call, what it involves really ultimately is a change of perspective, a willingness to experience differently somewhere between your heart and your soul. And that would be a kind of travel, a kind of energy, shifting of perspective, a willingness to consider a difference in perspective.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was my response to the travel section. But the second part of August, it's also very lively, where we're asked to step out and step up and perform. And by that, it's time to put on a show, not for the sake of deception or even necessarily entertainment, as I understand it. What she's presenting in the book is to, again, step up a little differently through authenticity, represent authenticity, but manifest, show, step up and show out. And for me, that has formidable resonance because August is my month. I'm a Leo. I always try to keep a low profile because there's a lot of expectations when you're a Leo. But the idea of stepping up and performing, not to deceive or even entertain, to enlighten, to engage, to embody a kind of showiness in order to engage, to see what people think and to get people's reaction to your performance, to my performance, such as it is.
Just thinking about that performance aspect and also how you've talked about it's not that you're performing to get acceptance, but that you're, as you said, the authenticity, that it's coming from your authentic self or your higher self, however we would express it. And that what you're sharing with others or what you're doing is from a position of will this enhance or uplift or improve as opposed to diminish, devalue. And that's such a profound way of looking at things. I had first heard about that way of talking about it from James Hollis, who's a very well known Jungian psychoanalyst. He had said, when you interact or when you do something or you make a choice, think about, is this going to uplift me or is
Mhm,
this going to diminish me? And when
mhm,
you interact with someone, and this goes back to some of the other chapters where there was a caution about the people around you to make sure that you have people who have your best interest in their heart and in their actions. Do they uplift you or do they diminish you? Do they want to collaborate in a positive way or they doing that in a competitive way to show that they're as good as or better than or they're as wise or as effective. I know that, goodness, when you look at stuff on the internet, so much is not uplifting. So much what I hear is diminishing or derogatory. So you're left feeling hollow and less than or diminished, basically. And There's no need for that.
Along that track, Alice, about being diminished or not being diminished, lately another friend of mine and I have agreed that one of the best ways to communicate, or if you like to perform, is to make people laugh. And I don't know where I got it from, but going back, I've been the class clown for a long time. I've been actually in junior high thrown out of class because of my performance, which I thought was extraordinary. But one time, again, with respect to performance, you want to engage people as you want to engage them. And I was at an academic conference a few years ago where I realized because of the initial presenter who was the chairperson for our panel, the woman was a rock star. She was a performance artist. And I realized that I needed to alter my presentation to really step things up. I couldn't change the content of my paper, but I could change my performance. And I did. Instead of ending with this incredible joke that I was so proud of, I decided I introduced myself and introduced my paper. And then I launched my wonderful joke. And this is for an auditorium full of academic strangers. And I looked up and there was silence. It could have only lasted for a fraction of a second. But in that time, I died 5,000 deaths. And then everyone began to laugh. The whole auditorium was full of laughter. And then I did my presentation, and it was an incredible success. I still marvel. I made friends, I made contacts, I was accepted for work in a book. And as I think about that, it was because of the other person's performance that called me to step up to the bar. And my performance was authentic. All my material was original. But I'll never forget that fraction of a second when I knew it was funny. People hadn't caught on yet. And I thought, oh no, I just despaired. And then this vast auditorium full of laughter. It was so gratifying. So performance is good.
Great illustration of what the whole intention was for the second part. By what you did, other people were engaged, or what that other woman did or presenter uplifted you in terms of your performance, and then you had a profound impact on others. And that's the ripple effect, and that is uplifting. That was great example.
It's one of those core experiences in my life that I'll never forget.
When we're authentic like that and we see the impact, and many times we see it one on one with those around us, those people that we love. But when you see what one person's authenticity can do to a whole room full of people, it's very humbling and it's a great example. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
So the first part of August invites us to travel, which is to say, transform ourselves in a way, to transform our perspective, to move ourselves. And then the second half of August encourage us to step up, to be expressive, and to not necessarily show off, but to show forth authentically and to step up in a more performative way. And then, as you say, keeping in mind that's a good point that you brought out from the chapter as well with respect to staying focused and investing in the people who invest in us, who support us in the best way, so that we can be authentically supported and can authentically connect also with those people in our lives who are well meaning and mean well for us and for themselves also. It's important. Choose your audience well, is the bottom line.
As you were talking about that, it reminded me of the importance throughout the preceding chapters. There's been a theme that Eve has brought forward, which is to choose those people around you carefully and to be, I wouldn't say ruthless, but confident that if there's somebody who does not have your best interest, that you cannot work with, whatever, then it's like the weed. I use the gardening thing. You gently lift the weed out of the soil and put it aside. You do the same in terms of maintaining that circle of people around you because they represent conversations, and the conversations that they have, the ones you're looking for are the ones that empower you or that provide the guidance that you need at various times, but in a way that it uplifts you so you can see where you may need to have a change of mindset, or you may need a different perspective, or you learn something, but from a way that you don't feel put down or diminished by their coaching. You want to have powerful conversations, those that are loving and supportive and always in your best interest, people who are looking out for you. It's not like you go out and beg people to be looking out for you, but there's a certain resonance I find with people in my life. And over the years, there's just been this kind of resonant bond. My husband would call it a biofield. Your biofields come together, and there's this synergy that's created between the two of you. It can be a lifelong bond, and it's very important that I continue to maintain it, and I actually do. I have to say sometimes in the work environment, you're in contact with people that you don't resonate with. There are those people that you do resonate with and can have lasting friendships over time. But outside of that, it can be in your family. You could have 1 or 2 people you don't resonate with in your family. That's okay. You don't have to hang out with them all the time. You find ways to avoid what doesn't work for you.
We find family closer to home as well through our friends and through our dogs and our cats, who are wonderful companions. The August takeaways, the summary of these two sections with respect to the travel and also authenticity. The first one, lean into exploration. Growth happens when you embrace curiosity and adapt to new situations. Trust that each challenge is a stepping stone to a deeper understanding of yourself. Also, evaluate relationships as we've been talking about, connecting with people that we have an authentic connection with. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you and hopefully make you laugh. Their guidance can help you navigate uncertainty and amplify your success. And then finally, balance visibility with authenticity. Step into the spotlight, but remain true to your intentions and purpose. External success is hollow without alignment with your core values. In other words, without being authentic. Present an authentic performance. Those are the takeaways for the month of August, which is upon us.
This month is very powerful, and I'm glad to review these and to have this conversation because it helps me feel more balanced. How I'm approaching things and what I'm doing and the people I'm spending time with.
Genuinely, I appreciate them as well. And of course, August is a powerful month. It is the month of the Leo, and we rule.
I had not
Course.
looked at the horoscope aspect of it, and I
Yeah.
should, because when you think about the I Ching having developed over millennia,
Yes.
that a lot of this comes from the ancients, their interactions with the constellations, the stars, the energies that the northern lights, if they were in that zone, or all of these forces from the earth and the sky and wind and water and fire and wood and animals and all of that. It's really an interesting conversation to have. And it's helpful to have to some understanding of some of the currents that are going on. Now, sometimes we move through the energies quickly and sometimes we don't move through quickly. What is the tip that we'll have when we'll be moving into September?
September's energy change will feel like you need to pay attention to the details of each situation and act accordingly. So, to refine our mindfulness and look carefully. But we'll see, because September is a few weeks out. Although, as we've noticed, the cosmos doesn't always observe the calendar date.
Right. I definitely feel the energies, the collective energies of August, but I just was curious about when the shift will occur, but who knows when it'll come.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm really in the thick of the first energy and also some of the second energy.
For now, it's August, and we should be lions, spend lots of time with our family, and occasionally roar authentically.
That's great. Anything
I
else that you would like to share?
I think this has been a wonderful discussion, Alice. I feel prepared for August.
Thanks for all this conversation today. It's really been meaningful for me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how all of August plays out and to our return for September. Until then, take good care.
Hey.